Did you see my clip on my Facebook page that's called Stadium?
No.
You got to check it out. Because most of it is shot in Mexico City in the Olympic, arena where I did the gig before, the Sports Palace. And it's amazing. See the Mexican crowd. We have got a lot of shots of them.
I'm gonna see. So you do your own Facebook? You do your
own
Facebook?
I look at it occasionally.
You're involved, but...
And occasionally I make a post on it, The last post I made on it was like 3 days ago, and it's called The Unknown Soldier. And I tell the story of how at all my shows I invite veterans. Don't care where I am, who they are really. 20 people make up that. And I go and see them at half time.
So that's what happened at half time.
That's what happens at half time. So I go and see the vets and I talk to them. And we don't talk politics or anything military or whatever. I just thank them for coming, and so we keep it very. It's whatever it is. So, but at one of the shows in BA in Buenos Aires, somebody, and I did 9 shows. So at one of these guys, they often give me things like badges or stuff from the regiment or whatever, and I always accept them, Anyway, this guy gave me a DVD, so I went, oh, thank you very much, and I handed it to Pompey, my man, and whatever, and then later on I went, I guess I'll watch it, and it's a film called Iluminados por el fuego, illuminated by fire. And it's an Argentine movie about the Malvinas War in 1982. It's so moving. It's such a beautiful movie, and I've never seen it. And I would have expected that somehow, through the walls of international barriers, this film would have found its way into my home, because I loved it. I adored it. It's made by a man called Tristan Bauer. And also, in the soundtrack, there's this extraordinarily beautiful song towards the end of it, and I didn't recognise it, and I had to Google to find out who it. And it turns out it's somebody called I don't know how you pronounce his name, but it's Leon Gieco.
Leon Gieco.
Leon Gieco. So beautiful, and it's called. Para la vida.
Okay.
And it's very big. So I've suddenly learned that there's this guy who's a big musical and folk hero in Argentina, who I've never heard of, who's a great songwriter and a fantastic singer. He's sort of their Bob Dylan, but I've never heard of him.
Okay.
And it made me realise how isolated we are one from another still, and how important this is. And how important the internet is because if I hadn't had Google, I would have gone. I might have gone. Oh well, that's good, but how do I find that? And you have to look through books and ring people up and have you ever heard it? And now you just go, illuminated by fire, boom, and you get there. It is, and then you get the Wikipedia page, and it tells you all about it and who it is, and it's so great. I put on my page, I said, to the unknown soldier, I want to find out who the guy was who gave me that thing, so that I can thank him personally for the great gift of introducing me to these 2 great works of art, And so that I use the Facebook page for things like that. Mother, do you think couple of things. Well, I gave out some
material,
wall demos, some bits of my wall demo. The demo I made for the wall is like an hour and 40 minutes long. It's a great long rambling thing. It may be that one day I'll make the whole thing public, but so I gave them some snippets of that and a few other things. Why not? With all due respect to the record companies, and basically it's an exercise in repackaging.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what it is. So, and my attitude is that maybe there's nothing really wrong with that. I mean, obviously there are people who'd like to buy it, so and they are repackaged to some extent in ways that are interesting. But I'm not really interested in the commercial end of the business. I'm not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm very proud of
what you've done,
of the catalogue that Rick and Nick and David and Sid and I made together. I think it's a very good body of work, and I'm proud of it, and I'm very happy that we did that work together. But obviously I'm doing the wall, which is part of it, but I'm more interested in thinking about what do I do next, or how do I. So you could say, I mean, if you wanted to, you could say, well, he's being snippy about repackaging the album. He's repackaging the wall. Well, I think, well, yeah, but I'm repackaging it with. Mama's gonna keep you right here under her. With a lot that it didn't have.
No, and the tour. I mean, in 1981, you only did. New York, Toronto, London. You did 4 or 5 cities.
We didn't do Toronto. We did LA, New York, London, and Düsseldorf.
London, right. And it was 4 or 5 cities.
Yeah.
And now you're taking it to the world.
It's a completely different piece now. The music is similar, very similar, because I kind of treat it almost like a classical piece. So Dave Kilminster plays a lot of David's solos, and he doesn't really well. He brings something of himself to them. He plays with a lot of passion. Snowy, on the other hand, of course, was there in 1979 and 80, and Dave would always play the same solo, and Snowy would always play something completely different every night, and he still does. So that's kind of interesting that his situation hasn't changed a great deal, although he's 30 years older.
Yeah.